Louth Louth is a market town and civil parish in the East Lindsey district of Lincolnshire, England. Geography: Louth is at the foot of the Lincolnshire Wolds, where they meet the Lincolnshire Marsh, and is known as the capital of the Lincolnshire Wolds. It developed where the ancient trackway along the Wolds, known as the Baton Street, crossed the River Louth. The town is east of a gorge carved into the Wolds that forms the Hubbard's Hills. This area was formed from a glacial overspill channel in the last glacial period. The River Louth meanders through the gorge before entering the town. Louth has a population of 15,930. The Greenwich Meridian passes through the town and is marked on Eastgate with a plaque on the north side of the street, just east of the junction with Northgate. The 3-mile £6.6 million A16 Louth bypass opened in 1991. The former route through the town is now designated as the B1520. History: 3 hand axes have been found on the Wolds surrounding Louth, dating from between 424,000 and 191,000 years ago, indicating inhabitation in Paleolithic era. Bronze Age archaeological finds include a barbed and tanged arrowhead found in the grounds of Monk's Dyke Tennyson College. St. Helens Spring, at the Gatherums, off Aswell Street, is dedicated to a popular medieval saint, the mother of Constantine the Great, the first Roman emperor to become a Christian, but is thought to be a Christianized Romano-British site for veneration of the pagan water goddess Lorna. The Anglo-Saxon pagan burial ground, northwest of Louth, dates from the 5th to 6th centuries, and was first excavated in 1946. With an estimated 1,200 urn burials, it is one of the largest Anglo-Saxon cremation cemeteries in England. Æthelhard, a bishop of Winchester who was made Archbishop of Canterbury in 793, was an abbot of Louth in his early life. Louth is listed in the 1086 Domesday Book as a town of 124 households. Louth Park Abbey was founded in 1139 by the Bishop Alexander of Lincoln as a daughter house of the Cistercian Fountains Abbey in Yorkshire. Following its dissolution in 1536, it fell into ruin, and today only earthworks survive on private land between Louth and Keddington. Monk's Dyke, now a ditch, was originally dug to supply the abbey with water from the springs of Ashwell and St. Helens at Louth. In 1643, Sir Charles Bowles, a resident of Louth, raised a hastily got-up soldiery for the Royalist cause in the English Civil War. Fighting took place in and around the town, and at one point, Bowles was forced to take refuge under the Ramsgate Bridge. By the battle's end, 3 strangers, being soldiers, was slain at a skirmish at Louth, and was buried. Human remains, found during archaeological visits to Louth Park Abbey during the 1800s, in a little space surrounded by a ditch, were believed to date from the Civil War, as 2 cannonballs from that era were found with the bodies. A flood occurred in the town on the 29th of May 1920, causing 23 deaths. 1 woman climbed a chimney to survive. Another was the only survivor from a row of 12 terrace houses, which were destroyed by the floodwaters. 4 stone plaques exist in the town to show how high the water level reached. Other, less devastating floods occurred on the 25th of June and the 20th of July in 2007. Margaret Wintringham succeeded her dead husband at the Louth by-election in September 1921, to become the Liberals' first female MP, and Britain's 3rd female MP. St. Herefrith of Louth. St. Herefrith, or Hereford, is Louth's forgotten saint, whose feast day is the 27th of February. He was a bishop who died around 873, possibly killed by the Danes. An 11th-century text describes Herefrith as Bishop of Lincoln, but as the bishopric that dates to 1072. Lincoln more probably refers to Lindsey, the early name for Lincolnshire. Similar confusion exists in an inventory of Louth Street, James Church, written in 1486 and transcribed in 1512, where he is referred to as a bishop of Auxerre, France. At some point following his death, a shrine venerating him was established at Louth. ʻlaʊθ, the Bishop of Winchester from 963 to 984, was actively seeking relics for his newly rebuilt Thorney Abbey in Cambridgeshire and sent his monks to Louth to raid Hereford's shrine. From an 11th century account, ʻlaʊθ had heard of the merits of the blessed Hereford, Bishop of Lincoln, resting in Louth, the chief town of the same church. When all those dwelling there had been put to sleep by a cunning rose, a trusty servant took him out of the ground, wrapped him in fine line cloth, and with all his fellows rejoicing brought him to the monastery of Thorney and reinterred him. A church dedicated to Saint Hereford at Louth appears in accounts from the 13th to 15th centuries, and one of his relics, an ivory comb, is recorded among the possessions of Louth's St. James Church in 1486. Suggestions that the shrine, and later church, of St. Hereford were earlier incarnations of St. James has no supportive evidence, but St. James is the site of two earlier churches of which little is known. St. James Church. The town was the origin of the Lincolnshire Rising, which started on the 1st of October 1536 in St. James Church. The rising began after Rev. Thomas Kendall, the incumbent, gave an emotive sermon, the evening before the King's Commissioners were due to arrive and assess the church's wealth. Some of the townspeople, fearful that the church treasury would be seized by the men of the crown, demanded the building's keys. The townspeople kept vigil at night, and, the following day, rang the church bells, an ancient call to rebellion, to gather a crowd. Having begun marching from Louth, 50,000 supporters converged to camp at Hambleton Hill the following evening, before they continued to Lincoln to confront the King's Commissioners. The town's skyline is dominated by St. James Church, Louth, the spire of which is 295 feet tall, though shorter than both Norwich Cathedral 315 feet, and Salisbury Cathedral 404 feet. In terms of spire height, it is the tallest Anglican parish church in the United Kingdom. The building of the spire commenced in 1501 and was finally completed in 1515. In 2015 came a remarkable discovery from the adjoining rectory garden in the form of two pieces of a pre-conquest standing stone cross dating to c. 950. In form, the cross is of the ring or wheelhead type, the central design being of Christ crucified. The type is more commonly seen today in Ireland. The cross and its implications for the archaeology, history and the early church in Louth will be the subject of a major article by Everson and Stocker in the Medieval Archaeology Journal in November 2016. Landmarks and places of interest. Louth Museum has a panorama gallery, which features two backlit replicas of William Brown's Panorama of Louth viewed from the top of St. James' Spire in 1844. The two original paintings that together form the panorama hang side by side in the council chamber of the town hall on Little Eastgate. The panorama gives a unique and vivid representation of the streets, businesses, homes and people of the town and the landscape as far as the North Sea to the east and northwards to the Humber estuary and beyond. Much of the town centre is lined with brick buildings from the 17th and 18th centuries. ABM Paul's used to have a large maltings which was the first of its kind built in Europe to an American design out of reinforced concrete in 1949. The site had been the location of a malting since 1870, which was destroyed by German bombs in 1940, and had to be built on the old site to qualify for war compensation. At its height, the maltings processed 50,000 tons of barley per year, with exports handled through the nearby port of Immingham. The maltings closed in 1998, and the 120 feet tall structure was left derelict for many years. The German supermarket chain Aldi was granted permission to build a new store on the site, and it was demolished in 2014-15. Hubbard's Hills is one of the town's main attractions. It was opened to the public in 1907. The park is dedicated to the memory of Annie Pavhard, the central figure of a historic, tragic love affair. The park is situated in a glacial overspill channel that forged the course for a small river, the Ludd. It meanders along the deep, flat valley bottom between steep, wooded slopes on either side. The Belmont television and radio mast, once one of the tallest structures in the European Union, is situated in the nearby village of Donington-on-Bane, 5 miles west of the town. Louth will be the eventual southern terminus of the Lincolnshire World's Railway, based at nearby Ludborough. The town was formerly on the East Lincolnshire Railway from Peterborough to Grimsby, an important north-south route especially for holidaymakers in the summer. It opened in 1848. The line to Marblethorpe started in the town from 1877, closing in 1960. The section to Wainfleet closed in 1961, with the Louth to Grimsby section late continuing for passengers until October 1970, with freight stopping in 1980. The former station is now residential flats. There are other reminders still standing. Alfred Lord Tennyson was educated at King Edward VI Grammar School. A stone inscription to commemorate this forms part of a wall on Schoolhouse Lane in Louth. Shopping and local economy. Louth is noted for the wide selection of independent retailers, with around 70% of businesses independently owned. In 2012, it was named Britain's favourite market town by the BBC's Country File. The town's long retail history is represented by a number of long-standing businesses, including the department store Eve and Rancho, whose history can be traced back to 1781, Dials and Amp Sons, poulterers since 1896, and the century-old butchers, Lakings of Louth. The first Building Society branch office was opened by the Peterborough Building Society in 1973. The town was also the headquarters of the former Louth, Marblethorpe and Sutton Building Society, a local society with several branches and agents in Lincolnshire, which was taken over by the Bradford and Amp Bingley in 1990. Louth is also known for its specialist grocers, and local butchers. Meridian Meats have won numerous awards. It is also home to the Cheese Shop, which has gained nationwide recognition, including in the Daily Telegraph, The Guardian, and on the Hairy Bikers Food Tour of Britain. Louth holds market days on Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays. There is a farmers' market on the 4th Wednesday of each month. A cattle market is held each Thursday at the Louth Livestock Centre on Newmarket. There is a small Morrison's, formerly a Summerfield store, which opened in 1985, and a cooperative supermarket, which opened in 1989. The co-op was given approval for an additional smaller store in 2013. Louth has fought hard to retain an independent retail focus. In 2008, a local pressure group, Keep Louth Special, was formed by residents, shoppers and business owners to lobby against a proposal for a major supermarket on the former cattle market site. The group was criticized by a town councillor the following year as outside settlers who wanted to live in a museum town, but a 2012 council report, while recommending a large retail development as necessary, acknowledged that a majority 50% of surveyed residents opposed it. An initial 2009 planning application by Sainsbury's for a new 30,000 square feet store was rejected by the council after appeal. In 2012, ʻlaʊθ Local described a 2013 proposal for an Aldi store as not bad news because it was intended for an eyesore site, and as Aldi stocks own brands and a limited fresh food offering, it would not be going head-to-head with the town market or independent retailers. Many national food campaigning organizations are based on Eastgate under the umbrella organization the Processed Vegetable Growers Association, notably, the Asparagus Growers Association, the British Onion Producers Association, the British Herb Trade Association, the Brassica Growers Association, the Leek Growers Association, the Radish Growers Association, the Turf Grass Association, Community and Culture. The town's Playhouse Cinema is on Cannon Street, and is home to Louth Film Club, which won the British Federation of Film Societies' Film Society of the Year award in 2008. Louth Playgoers Society's Riverhead Theatre is on Victoria Road, to the east of the town. There are several local bands, especially jazz, in and around the town. Corinne Drury of Swing Out Sister grew up in the area, and Robert Wyatt is a resident. Transition Town Louth is a community project which organizes various events in and around the town aimed at promoting the awareness of climate change and unsustainable resources. Part of a large social movement, many transition towns are now developing a subgroup. The community food gardens are encouraging a shift towards sustainable communities. Sport and leisure. Meridian Leisure Centre. The centre opened on 6 February 2010, and by 2013, had received almost 1 million visits, and was home to over 20 clubs. It cost £12 million and consists of an 8-lane, 25-metre swimming pool and a 2-level gym with over 80 pieces of equipment, along with a sports hall and other facilities. The Louth Technology Hub, which is using 3D display technology, with a focus on sports groups and clubs, opened on the centre's upper floor in October 2013. Louth Tennis Centre. Louth Tennis Centre is situated on Fairfield Industrial Estate to the north of the town and has indoor and outdoor tennis facilities. London Road Sports Pavilion. There is a multi-use sports pavilion on London Road, which includes football pitches, a cricket pitch and a multi-use AstroTurf pitch. Cricket. Louth Cricket Club was formed in 1822 and play the home games at the London Road Sports Pavilion. Football. Louth is home to Louth Town Football Club, which plays in the Lincolnshire Football League. Cadwell Park, in the Wolds to the southwest of the town, around 4 miles away, is Cadwell Park motor racing circuit between the villages of Scamblesby and Tathwell. Other pursuits. Louth also hosts Louth Swimming Club, Louth Old Boys, Yomkai Taekwondo, Kendojo Martial Arts, Louth Storm Basketball, Louth Chess Club, Louth Golf Course and Kenwick Park Golf Course, as well as archery and a model aircraft club which uses Strubby and Manby airfields. Education. Primary schools. Kidgate Primary School, Lacey Gardens Junior School, St Michael's CEV Primary School, Eastfield Infants and Nursery School. Secondary schools. Cordo Academy, Monks Dyke Tennis and College, King Edward VI Grammar School. Further education. A new £3 million further education college, called World's College, was built next to the Cordo School. Construction by the Lindham Group started in November 2007, and the college officially opened in October 2008. Unlike many Lincolnshire secondary modern schools, both Cordo and Monksdyke have their own sixth forms. East Lindsey's only other secondary modern with a sixth form is its Skegness, although the town is well served for A-level provision. Vocational courses were less well served until the college opened in this part of East Lindsey in September 2008, although there is the Grimsby Institute some 15 miles away. Twin town. Louth's twin town is La Ferté-Bernard, close to Le Mans in Pays de la Loire, France. Loudensians. Inhabitants of Louth are known as Loudensians, taken from the Latin name of the town.